Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the odd problems on the 6-1 worksheet on inverse functions. Okay, first one, find the inverse of each function. Be sure to show your work. So, inverse, remember this g of x is the y, and that's our x. We're going to switch the x's and the y's. So this y turns into x, and this x turns into y, negative 3y minus 2. Solve this thing for y. So we're going to add 2 to both sides. So we get x plus 2 equals negative 3y. Divide both sides by negative 3. And we get y equals, let's see, we don't have the negative in the bottom, in the denominator, so we'll move it to the top. So it's negative 1/3 x, and then 2, a positive over negative is negative, and that's going to be 2/3. And that is the inverse. We want to use the proper notation, which would then be g prime of x, or g to the negative first of x, sorry. That stands for the inverse of g of x, and that gives us negative 1/3 x minus 2/3. That's our inverse function. Okay, 3. This becomes our x over here. 1/3, the x becomes the y, minus 1. So solve this thing for y. We add 1 to both sides. We get x plus 1 equals 1/3 y. To get rid of that 1/3, we'll want to divide by 1/3, which the better way to do that is to actually multiply everything by 3, right? Because the 3 takes care of the 1/3. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 times 1/3 y is just y. So that means this is f of x, so f to the negative first of x, the inverse of x, is 3x plus 3. Okay? 5. This is the y, but now it becomes the x. This x becomes the y. And we solve this thing for the y part over here, right? So we've got a fraction over here, no fraction over here. I always like to, if I've got one fraction on one side and not a fraction on the other, I just try to make the other side into a fraction. So let's put it over 1. And now we can do cross products, right? So 1 times negative y plus 4 is negative y plus 4. And then x times 2 is 2x. Okay, we could have also just multiplied both sides by 2 and gotten the same thing, but whatever you end up wanting to do. So I did this, the little cross products thing. Okay, let's see. We're trying to get y by itself, so let's subtract 4 from both sides. And we get negative y equals 2x minus 4. We got to get rid of that negative, so basically we're multiplying everything by negative 1. So that will then give us y equals negative 2x plus 4. So that means, since this is f of x, that means f to the negative first of x, the inverse of x, inverse of f of x is negative 2x plus 4. Okay? 4, 7 here. This just looks a little different because they have the 1/2 x. We've got the x after the 4. It doesn't matter. It's still going to work just the same. So this is x equals 4 plus 1/2 y. We've got to get y by itself, so we've got to subtract 4 from both sides. X minus 4 equals 1/2 y. To get rid of the 1/2, we can multiply both sides by 2. So that gives us, distribute this 2 through to both of these things here as well. So that's 2x minus 8. And 2 times 1/2 is plain old y, which is what we were trying to get. So that's, we got it to y equals, so that means h to the negative first of x, or the inverse of h of x, is 2x minus 8. Okay? Okay. Now, remember, on all of these, if you want to double check to make sure that these work, you can always do the, oh, actually, this is coming up later in the 6-2 stuff, so we'll just leave it be for now. So I'll show you how to check it in the next in the 6-2 section. Okay, so this one here, this is the x over here. The x turns into y, and then we solve this thing. Add 4 to both sides. X plus 4 equals negative 2y. Divide everything by negative 2. right? And we get that y equals, that's really a 1, so that's negative 1/2 x. And positive divided by a negative is a negative. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that means g to the negative first of x, or the inverse of g of x, is negative 1/2 x minus 2. Okay? And then 11 here. F of x, this is officially the y, so now that turns into x, and our x turns into y. And solve this thing for y. Add 1 to both sides. X plus 1 equals 2y. Divide everything by 2. And that gives us 1/2 x plus 1/2 equals y. So that means f to the negative first of x, or the inverse of f of x, equals 1/2 x plus 1/2. Okay? Okay, that's all we have for the 6-1. If you have any further questions on any of this, please feel free to ask. Thanks.